Here is the basic English Latinized alphabet as it stands today. With this, pardon the Z on the end there. I've not got much space here, I do apologise. Now, this is how our character set would look if you bought a stencil, like you have in young schools. However, culturally, something has happened. And we refer to it, I believe, as the fall of consciousness. Now, the fall of consciousness is supposed to be purported to be about an event that took place a long time ago when humans were uplifted and then all of a sudden they fell by some unsightly act, possibly involving a piece of fruit, apparently. And that was enough for extreme banishment. Goodness me. Glad I don't live there. Now, that is not the case at all. So the story, the concept of the fall is that humans were once divine uplifted beings of some way, with great awareness and power. What I'm going to try to suggest to you here today is that that was you in this life. Okay? You displayed amazing, divine, powerful qualities in this life. And to understand when that was, I need you to remember your young infancy, if you will. I realise for many of you, you'll find that very difficult. So I'll have to ask all the parents in the room. Any parents here, out there, any of you guys parents, I want to ask you about about some qualities about your infant child. And I'm talking about infants here. You know, the question is, are infants very accepting? Well, to be honest, they don't have a choice. You can be born in a squalor or a palace, and a human infant will accept its environment without question. It is all accepting. Do infants hold a grudge? Well, I have two, and I can say that my experience with them is no, they don't. They will let you know if they're unhappy with you in the moment, and when it's gone, it's gone. They don't hold a grudge, and they don't wait to get you back. There's no revenge consciousness there. They are all forgiving. They will forgive you any transgression. Are infants very loving? I've had a number of people question this one quite strongly, and I have to say, every one of them who has, without exception, is somebody to me who seems to have a damaged relationship with love themselves. But from others, there is a general theme that yes, infants are loving because they love anything and anyone. They don't hold back from the fullness of their presence in any way. Not that that is a measure of love per se. It's a bit of a difficult measure, but I would suggest and put out there that, you know, from my point of view, I see infants as being all loving. If you don't, then right in. And the final question is, are infants very perceiving? Now, some people will say, no, they don't see anything. They don't pick up on anything. And others will say they see absolutely everything. They don't miss anything. My experience is the latter. They don't miss anything. And that's how each of us entered the world with this capacity to pick up on everything that's going on around us, absolutely everything, so that we can get by in the world and survive. But we lose that sense in a way as we grow. But I would suggest that as infants we are all perceiving. So we have all loving, all perceiving, all forgiving, all accepting, and these are all qualities we attribute to the divine. So the point here is that as infants, you all demonstrated divine qualities and a divine presence. And just at some point, that changed. And what I'm going to suggest to you now is that that was the fall. And it took place in your life. Not thousands and thousands of years ago, but in your life. In the transition from infancy to childhood and adulthood. And one of the places in which it is represented, if not triggered, but definitely represented, is in the fall of character. Qualities of character which have fallen. Now, these are called characters for a reason. Now, we're not going to go into that in this video, but what I do want you to pay attention to is, this is how characters appear on a stencil. But you don't write like that. For you, a number of key characters have fallen. Your F, your G, your J, your P, your Q, and very importantly, your Y. The fall of these characters is of massive significance, because the journey that is undertaken in the alphabet is that of the upliftment of character and the progression of character development. The real Freemasonic intervention in human consciousness was on the mind by arresting character development through an engineered fall. And what happens is, when these points fall, we can't go into the whole decoding of the alphabet here, but each of these is about the movement of shape. So the same shapes move in the alphabet. So the circle, which begins in the A and moves through the B, is omitted somewhat in the C, but reappears in the D and squashed in the E, etc., is uplifted for the first time in the G. And actually, for most people, it's not. It's fallen. It's down here, like this. This is very, very bad. Because this is meant to be the realm of human endeavour that is being mapped out and represented in our experience. This realm here, this realm of character exploration. By having facets of our awareness which have fallen, we are confused as to which is the greater I, or the higher I, or the uplifted I, and which is the lower I. Which is the big me and which is the little me. And what ends up happening is people get confused, and little I thinks it's big I. And not only that, the confusion of character development means that it almost doesn't matter which books you read, and it almost doesn't matter which videos you watch, or what aware knowledge you supposedly have. You can't break free from the spells of your own mind because of this limited framework. Like I said, the arrest of character development is at the fundamentals of most of your understanding of the world, because all of your ideas are all rendered using a limited character set that is actually flawed. So you will never truly be able to represent the real and the true and the beautiful with a flawed and broken tool set. In the study of English that you'll engage in with me in these videos, is that we'll be correcting all of this. But in the meantime, what I'd like you to try is to try changing your writing to maintain your characters all in the same set. And all I'm inviting you to do is to do that for 1 month. If you can do that for 1 month and then go back, that's all. And I'll say that for everybody I know who's ever undertaken this, doing it for 1 month, they've never been able to go back because it just doesn't feel right. You will not know the answer to that unless you try. If you're not willing to try, then your judgment of the process is invalid. All I'm suggesting is give it a try. Whether it will reverse the fall in your consciousness or not, I'm not sure. But what it does help in is the later study of English and its transformation into higher languages. It's very important to correct these basic mistakes first. Then we can move on and deal with some more advanced concepts.